until Walter told him no more because you're going to get hurt playing lacrosse. And but Wayne played lacrosse till he was like 14, I guess.
Okay.
So
Yeah, it's a good sport that complements hockey for sure.
Yeah, I mean around here anyway, it's I'm not gonna say it's taken over baseball, but for the kids who are hockey players, most of them now in the spring gravitate to lacrosse
yeah,
as opposed to the kids that always would just go play baseball.
yeah, same here. So and it's taken away from football too.
Yes. Yep.
The hitting in lacrosse, I've never played it, I've watched it. Seems pretty vicious to me, and everything's the shoulders. And I always thought, well, it's going to lead to dangerous play in ice hockey. And I don't know whether I worry about lacrosse making hockey players more dangerous. It toughens them up, there's no doubt about it. Great for fitness and hand-eye coordination. But I often wondered whether the transfer to a sport like hockey was as good as we think.
Well, I know one of the things from some of the kids who have played it that they liked was nobody was yelling at them about keeping their stick down.
But they're yelling at him because they're swinging them like an axe.
Yes.
And I coached a kid for a couple of years, and he'd go there and he'd swing his stick just like a lacrosse stick at people, at waist height, and just we had to settle him down a little bit because it's funny. I played lacrosse in high school actually, in Colorado back in the '60s, and it didn't get here to Minnesota until maybe the late '90s, so 30 years later. And I was involved in starting the local lacrosse club when we lived in a different community, and then my son played lacrosse, um, and when they're young, the ball's on the ground a lot because they knock it down, they knock it out of the thing, they can't catch it. So now they're always chasing around. As they get better and better, the ball's not on the ground very much. But what does happen to these kids, um, it's really hard on their ankles and it's really hard on their knees because of the physicality of it and just like a football player, that's turning and twisting and they're wearing cleats. And my son actually had a couple of Division I schools that were interested in him, and he just said no, no. And I asked him why, and he goes, "Well, Dad, look at Coach. Look how he walks." And his coach had been an All-American in North Carolina or somewhere, and his boys were really good. He says, "Look at him. He's crippled, and it's all from lacrosse." He says, I'm gonna stick with hockey." So that's what he did.
Yeah, that's funny. We had years back when the kids I'd coach at um, Squirts and worked with them too, right up to Bantams. When they became Bantams, the town created its first lacrosse program. So all these kids put on their hockey helmets and their hockey gloves, right? And they went to play lacrosse. And you'd go to a game, and all they were doing was just running people over.
Yeah.
That's all they were because it was hockey, right? Bantam was checking then, they could do it, and they loved it. And they won a lot of games simply because they created space for themselves. Let's just say that.
Well, I mean, we went out east to Princeton and a couple of places for camps, and they were really interested in Minnesota lacrosse players that also played hockey
Yeah.
because they knew how to body check. And I heard one of the coaches, the Princeton coach, told me that. He said now the game is in the last 10, 12, 14 years, whatever. Lacrosse has become more sophisticated, and and there's a lot more kids playing for sure. But it was pretty rough in those early years when we got it started here. It was a lot of just, wailing people with those sticks on the idea that it doesn't hurt. But it does hurt because of they're not wearing very many pads. They're
Right.
not, they're not wearing rib pads. And for the life of me, I don't know why anybody plays goalie in lacrosse.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean,
That's
even with the pads they have, they can hardly move. And the ball's coming in pretty darn, and and it weighs more than a hockey puck. So
Yeah, it weighs quite a bit.
yeah, it's got you got that leverage, sort of like hockey, but you got that leverage where these guys can really shoot that ball. I wouldn't play goalie for anything in that sport.
Well, they're pretty tricky with it too.
Yeah,
You know,
once you get inside, behind the back,
down and
over the shoulder, down low, yeah,
yeah.
it's fun to watch.
Yeah, yeah. When girls are really good at it, it's a fun sport to watch, and I think that and hockey are the only two sports where you use a separate instrument to move the object to your teammate, right?
Field hockey too.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Field hockey.
All the hockey things.
Yeah.
My grandson was playing ball hockey last night. He's 23 and playing the game, and some guy just stepped on a stick and broke it on purpose. That's like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. Those things aren't cheap.
Yeah.
Those things aren't cheap, but really, right? I mean, as far as being able to toss it, hold it, make the moves, I think it's a really good crossover sport for hockey. A lot of
I know
similarities
Robertson
in your
Newendike
approach.
really played a lot of it growing up and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot of it. We were kids, my brother went to a prep school and the athletic department guy after a game on Saturday let him bring a bunch of lacrosse stuff home. Just it was like the shoulder pads, helmets. We had hockey gloves, and we actually made hockey. We made lacrosse sticks out of branches of a tree that we cut that were in a Y, and then we use onion bags with string. And that's how we made a lacrosse stick. But we just had a great time one weekend just putting on the stuff and beating the heck out of each other. It's a lot of fun.
That's a perfect example of the word play.
Yeah.
I mean, you fabricated the instrument and the fun you had just